Welcome back to another edition of The House That Allen Built. I am Scott Kinmartin, and not with me tonight is Greg Vollmer. It is late on Saturday. He had to work, but I want to quickly cover episode 41, season 2, episode 3. This is the Bills hosting the Raiders this weekend for the home opener. The Bills are 0-1 after that crummy loss against the Jets last week. The Raiders are actually 1-0, and this will be the first time the Bills host the Raiders since 2017. The Bills are 7.5-point favorites, as they should be. The Bills and Raiders have matched up 42 times and have split the series 21 apiece. This is the 10th matchup this century. The Bills last faced the Raiders in Las Vegas on October 4th, 2020, but that was during COVID, so there were no fans. McDermott is now 2-0 against the Raiders. They won that game 30-23, and in 2017, he won 34-14. Josh Allen last time was 24 of 34, 288 yards and 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, but he only had 3 rushes for -1 yard. So hopefully, let's hope that he just takes care of the ball. Diggs was good, of course. In that game, he was 6 of 7 for 115 yards. Back then, they had Derek Carr, who actually did pretty well. He was 32 of 44 for 311 yards and 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Josh Jacobs, on the other hand, who's their bell cow, he only averaged 3.2 yards per carry, 15 carries, 48 yards, and 3 receptions for 25 yards. This time, they don't have Darren Waller, they don't have Zay Jones, they don't have Carr. They now have Jimmy G, who comes over from the Niners. His record is 41-17, so Jimmy G is a winner. He'll probably be pretty competitive. He's a system quarterback. He'll stay in the pocket. So our pass rush that we had last week against Zach Wilson will hopefully be more effective. Even though it was good last week, they only had 3 sacks last week. As much as I enjoyed seeing that pressure, it didn't amount to too much other than Aaron Rodgers being out for the season, of course. They are now coached by Josh McDaniels, who's in the Belichick tree, of course. So with the Raiders having Hunter Renfrow in the slot still, and Josh Jacobs still, they now have Davante Adams from Green Bay, and they have Jacoby Myers from New England, who obviously McDaniels is familiar with. The Bills' defense had 0 sacks last time they played the Raiders, so let's hope that pocket passer Jimmy G gets sacked a bunch, because he's been sacked 116 times in his career. And if he were to get hurt, their backup quarterback is journeyman Brian Hoyer from, you guessed it, New England. A lot of other places, but he's mostly backed up Tom Brady. This is his 15th season. Now, let's get to the injury report. We've got Jacoby Myers, who is out, actually, in concussion protocol still, and Chandler Jones for personal reasons. He's dogging him on Twitter, or do we call it X now? So there's been rumors that he will be on the trading block. Who knows? Injuries for the Bills? They don't have any. Mitch Morse, the center, did have a bum finger, like he jammed it during last week's game, and he was on the injury report on Wednesday, but he is a full go for Sunday. The Raiders are coming off of a win at the Broncos. So the Broncos under Sean Payton start 0-1. The Bills are also coming off of a loss at the Jets. As we all know, it's well documented by now. Josh Allen had 4 turnovers that included 3 interceptions and a fumble. He never really settled in. He looked frazzled. He just slinging it downfield, trying to force it into, well, I can't even say tight coverage. I mean, it was a wide open safety sitting there waiting for it most of the time. Whitehead was the beneficiary of all 3 interceptions. So let's hope that doesn't happen. And I feel bad for the Raiders because honestly, Josh Allen is 5-0 after coming off of a performance like that with 3 turnovers or more. And I feel like he's going to be red hot. Come on, the home opener in Buffalo against the Raiders, who are not predicted to win more than 5 games this season. They're supposed to be bottom 5, and I still believe that they will. Jimmy G, although he's a winner, when you don't have Chandler Jones and you don't have Jacoby Myers, you're basically left with Davante Adams. I really do believe in Tre'Davious White still, and I thought that our second corners did really well. Dane Jackson, I don't even think he saw the field, or maybe a handful of times, but Christian Benford looked really good. Even our middle linebacker looked pretty good. Yeah, Bernard was all over the field. I mean, keep in mind that was only his second game ever in the pros. So my biggest worry is going to be Max Crosby. He will be facing Spencer Brown, who had an up and down game. He had 2 costly penalties last week. And with Max Crosby, he's probably going to have the jitters again. He's just a freak, and he will most likely get 2 or 3 sacks on Josh Allen or force him out of the pocket. Maybe Josh will do some magical things. I'm talking about their other defensive end, Chandler Jones. I'm glad he's not playing. But how many of you knew that he's actually from Rochester, New York, and he went to Syracuse before being drafted in 2012 out of New England in the first round? On offense, the Raiders have Greg Van Roten at right guard. So we should be able to expose him there, as we're very familiar with him. And they have tight end Austin Hooper, who comes over from, I think he played for the Browns last. And, he's a basic tight end. He's a good blocker. He's a decent catcher. Not crazy athletic, but their rookie stud tight end, Michael Mayer, who a lot of people had ahead of Kincaid, he's going to be their tight end 2 or 3. He probably won't see the field much, or maybe they're going to bring him in slowly. As you know, with the Bills offense, Josh Allen has a history of rebounding. I really hope he rights the ship and shuts up a lot of those haters. You've got a lot of the Jets and Dolphins fans on Twitter just making fun of Allen. There's a reason why he made the Madden cover, and I know he's a ton of offseason distractions and whatnot. I do my best when I get mad at myself, and I think he does too. He was obviously hypercritical of his performance. He knew that game was on him. All he had to do was just play a basic game to beat the Jets. But once again, Zach Wilson gets the best of us. The Bills had 2 or more tight ends on the field, an NFL high 70.6% of the time last Monday. That's the best in the league. The league average was 27.8%. So clearly they're going 12 personnel quite a bit. But with that needs to come more rushing production. I loved what I saw from James Cook last week, but they didn't do it enough. It's like Dorsey will ignore the things that work well and force the things that don't. And I'm hoping that he can settle down Josh Allen. Difference between Brian Daboll and Ken Dorsey, other than Daboll being, NFL head coach of the year last year. When he was a coordinator, he was down on the field where Dorsey's up in the booth. So he needs someone in his ear, not just Diggs. Maybe he misses Matt Barkley, as funny as that sounds. Okay, so what do I expect this game to be? It's a over-under 46.5. I want to say the Bills win 30-13. I mean, it's not going to be a low-scoring game, in my opinion. I just think the Raiders don't have enough on their defensive front right now. Max Crosby can't do everything. On offense, without Jacoby Myers, obviously we can try to isolate Devontae Adams, even though he's very good at contested catches. And I think that Tre'Davious White is back to his old self. It's still going to be a challenge. I worry about Josh Jacobs ripping one off, just like last week for Breece Hall. If we can keep those things in front of us and be a little more aggressive on offense, not with Josh Allen's arm, but where we're not kicking field goals on 4th and 2, they gave up. I wasn't happy with how that game went. Nobody really was if you're a Bills fan. But that's it. Bills, I think, win 30-13. We get back in the win column. All right, so that's going to do it for the House at Allen Bill episode 41. I'm Scott Kinmartin. Go Bills!
You got me feeling like I'm Josh Allen. Yeah. What? You got me feeling like I'm Josh. Okay. You got me feeling like I'm Josh Allen. Yeah. Josh. Got me feeling like I'm who? Josh. Yeah. Josh Allen.